sure which charge they're talking about. I think Melly did get arrested for drugs at some point, so maybe it's that. What was Army Gang? Army Gang was just like YNW. It was just... Was Melly wearing the same clothes he had the night before? No. So bro switched clothes, because remember...
A deliberate attempt to conceal the truth. The stakes were high. Bortland knew that implicating Melly would mean a life sentence. He had too much to lose. But the digital age doesn't play. The internet never forgets. And that's how this story turns even colder. After news of the murders broke, people started reaching out to Melly, asking if he was okay. Then it dropped. The prosecution's smoking gun came straight from social media. When one friend asked what had happened, prosecutors say Melly's response was ice cold. I did that. Just 2 words. I did that, which the district attorney later claimed amounted to nothing less than a full confession to murdering his own closest friends. But it didn't stop there. The trail of digital breadcrumbs didn't end with that single message. Investigators dug deeper and uncovered more incriminating posts and comments, all pointing directly to Melly's involvement in the murders. Together, they painted a chilling picture of a calculating killer who not only planned the murders, but also tried to cover them up. The evidence extended far beyond social media. Investigators also scrutinized Melly's phone records and location data, which placed him near the crime scene at the exact time of the killings. Yet it was the forensic evidence that truly sealed his fate. The state crime lab meticulously analyzed the bullets recovered from the victims' bodies and matched them to a .223 caliber handgun traced back to one of Melly's associates. That gun wasn't found in the Jeep. Someone had moved it. It wasn't Bortland. He claimed he never even saw a gun. But that's not the only inconsistency. Crime scene technicians analyzing the Jeep's tire tracks discovered the vehicle had been driven in a circular route before arriving at the hospital. Moreover, all the bullet holes on the Jeep appeared to have been caused by shots fired from a single location, one that wasn't on Miramar Parkway. It gets worse. Even the blood spatter patterns inside the vehicle contradicted a typical drive-by shooting. Instead, they indicated the victims were already dead when the shots were fired. The blood had already begun to congeal. This wasn't a crime of passion or a spur-of-the-moment act. It was premeditated. The coldest part came after the bodies dropped. The DA argues that what happened next proves this wasn't some impulsive act. It was the work of a stone-cold, calculating killer. After allegedly killing his friends, the shooters drove to a remote location, got out of the vehicle, and began shooting up the Jeep from the outside. They used a different gun, a .40 caliber, to stage the scene and make it look like a random drive-by attack, believing the victims were already dead. Investigators later found .40 caliber shell casings at that remote spot, a deliberate red herring meant to throw them off the scent. What began as a routine gang-related shooting investigation quickly evolved into one of the most complex forensic cases the state had ever seen. The evidence they uncovered exposed a cover-up so elaborate it nearly succeeded, and revealed just how far someone would go to eliminate the people who knew them best. Bortland arrived at Memorial Hospital Miramar with 2 corpses in the car. He remained eerily calm as he told doctors and police they'd been hit in a drive-by, but Melly was nowhere to be found. According to investigators, Melly had supposedly been picked up from wherever they'd staged the fake shooting, leaving Bortland alone to drop off the bodies and sell their fabricated story. Now, investigators finally understand the full sequence of events. The pieces have fallen into place, revealing a meticulously planned and executed double murder. But the most shocking revelation came from an unexpected source. A seemingly minor detail initially overlooked has now become a critical piece of evidence. The state's key witness, someone closely connected to Melly, stepped forward with an astonishing confession. This witness claims first-hand knowledge of both the planning and execution of the murders, and even knows the location of the murder weapon. Their testimony is backed by multiple corroborating sources and provides a comprehensive account
for the state's case. Jurors have already gotten an inside look into the vehicle where Thomas and Williams were allegedly shot.
What are we looking at in here? I'm going to zoom in here to the hood area.
That is another piece of evidence tape used to seal the vehicle in the same way that we sealed the premises prior to its
the motive, the planning, the killings, and the elaborate cover-up that followed. The state's case against Melly isn't built on circumstantial evidence alone. It's a mountain of forensic proof, reinforced by the testimony of a key insider. And the motive? Toxic. A volatile mix of money, jealousy, and gang politics. Forces that have torn apart more crews than federal law enforcement ever could. Melly's rapid rise to fame had created serious financial tensions within the group. His success threatened the existing power structure of their set. All 4 victims were deeply tied to the YNW Bloods or Ford affiliates. And when money clashes with loyalty in the streets, someone usually ends up in a coffin. The most heartbreaking aspect is just how close these young men truly were. Melly had literally tattooed their names on his face while they were still alive, a permanent declaration to the world that these were his ride-or-die brothers. They weren't random rivals or street enemies. They were childhood friends who'd grown up together, dreamed together of escaping the hood through music, and had each other's backs through every struggle. To betray that bond, to end their lives so brutally, is an act of unimaginable cruelty. The victims' bodies weren't even cold when detectives realized this wasn't just another neighborhood drive-by. The evidence they uncovered would expose a cover-up so intricate it nearly worked, and reveal the terrifying lengths someone would go to silence the people who knew them best. And the psychological toll of prolonged incarceration under maximum security conditions cannot be overstated. Melly has spent over 6 years in custody, much of it spent in solitary confinement or under highly restrictive conditions, has exacted a visible toll on his physical and mental health. The isolation, uncertainty, and relentless stress of potentially facing execution have worn him down. Legal experts point out that these conditions themselves can amount to punishment even before a conviction is secured. Consider the sheer weight of that. Years stripped of freedom, constantly staring down the possibility of execution. It's an almost unimaginable pressure to endure, nearly impossible to fully comprehend unless you've walked in his shoes. But Bortland's decision to cooperate isn't merely a cold calculation to avoid a life sentence. It represents a seismic shift in the entire case. Remember, the defense's entire strategy rested on the premise that the crimes were random acts of violence, a tragic case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, that foundation is crumbling. His testimony is expected to detail the events leading up to the murders, the planning involved, and potentially even the motives behind them. That level of detail is precisely what the prosecution has desperately needed to secure a conviction. The legal implications of Bortland's cooperation are extraordinarily complex. At the heart of it all is the proffer, the sworn statement he is legally required to provide. This isn't just about recounting what happened. It's about doing so truthfully. Any deviation, any omission, and he risks losing his plea deal and facing the full force of the original charges. This places him under almost unbearable pressure to be completely forthcoming. It's a high-wire act. He must cooperate enough to earn a reduced sentence, yet not so much that he further incriminates himself. Consider the dynamics at play. Bortland stands to receive a drastically reduced sentence, but in exchange, he'll be branded forever as a snitch, a rat. The streets, even behind prison walls, rarely forgive betrayal. The relationships he's lost, the reputation he's destroyed, these are lifelong consequences he'll carry with him. Yet, faced with the alternative of spending the rest of his life in prison, the choice, however agonizing, became clear. It's a stark reminder that the legal system often forces individuals into impossible dilemmas, prioritizing convictions over compassion. The details emerging from Bortland's impending testimony are painting a far more sinister picture.
Went by YNW Sack Chaser. According to prosecutors, Henry pulled up to a Miramar, Florida hospital on October 26, 2018, saying Thomas and Williams were bleeding out in his vehicle. He alleged it was a drive-by shooting, but when officials reached the vehicle, Thomas and Williams were already dead with gunshot wounds to their heads and torsos. Investigators
While the exact contents remain sealed, legal experts anticipate he will describe a premeditated act, carefully planned and deliberately executed. This directly contradicts the initial narrative of spontaneous violence. He's expected to outline the events leading up to the murders, including possible motives and the specific roles each participant played. Such detailed information would be invaluable to the prosecution, providing the concrete evidence needed to convict Melly. The impact on Melly's defense is devastating. His legal team has spent years constructing a narrative of innocence, portraying Melly as a victim of circumstance. Now, Bortland's testimony is methodically dismantling that narrative, brick by brick. Evidence that was once circumstantial is rapidly becoming direct and damning. The defense's options are narrowing quickly. They're now fighting an uphill battle to salvage a case that appears increasingly indefensible. There's also a deeply human dimension to consider. Melly and Bortland were once close friends, part of a tight-knit circle. Now Bortland is positioned to become the prosecution's key witness against his former friend. The emotional weight of that betrayal is immeasurable. Melly's team has tried to frame Bortland's decision as a desperate act of self-preservation, an attempt to evade accountability for his own actions. But the undeniable truth remains. He has chosen to testify against his friend, potentially sealing Melly's fate with a life sentence. The legal landscape in capital cases is notoriously intricate. Rules of evidence, the burden of proof, and constitutional safeguards are all designed to ensure fairness and protect the rights of the accused. Yet even within this framework, the system can be profoundly biased, especially in cases involving young people, marginalized communities, and complex narratives. The pressure on both defendants, the potential manipulation of evidence, and the emotional devastation inflicted on families all contribute to a deeply flawed and often unjust process. The timing of Bortland's decision is also significant. With Melly's retrial looming, the prosecution's urgency to secure a conviction has intensified. They've invested substantial resources into this case, and the pressure to deliver results is immense. Bortland's cooperation offers them the breakthrough they've been desperately seeking, providing the momentum needed to sway a jury and secure a guilty verdict. This situation underscores a recurring theme in criminal justice: the immense power of cooperation. Witnesses routinely face an agonizing choice: remain silent and risk being implicated, or cooperate with authorities in hopes of reducing their own punishment. But testifying against a friend, especially in a capital case, carries profound and irreversible consequences, capable of altering the trajectory of a life forever. It's also worth examining the role of public perception. High-profile cases like this often become media spectacles, with intense public scrutiny and opinion heavily influencing legal proceedings. The prosecution has skillfully shaped the narrative, casting Melly as a ruthless killer and Bortland as a desperate accomplice seeking redemption. Such public sentiment can be a potent force, swaying jurors and shaping trial outcomes. Looking ahead, Melly's retrial stands as a pivotal moment in this saga. The courtroom will become a battleground of competing narratives, a struggle for truth itself. The jury will be charged with weighing the evidence, evaluating witness credibility, and ultimately deciding the fate of a young man whose future hangs in the balance. The outcome of this trial will have far-reaching consequences, not only for Melly and his family, but also for the broader community. The legal system isn't perfect. It is a flawed and often biased institution, vulnerable to human error and political pressure. Yet it remains our last line of defense against tyranny and the guardian of individual rights. As citizens, it is our responsibility to hold it accountable, demand transparency, and strive for a system that is truly just.
And it's additional surveillance video that puts Melly with both victims ahead of the shooting. But jurors also heard ballistic testimony from crime scene investigators who gave a visual representation of how the bullets traveled in the vehicle.
As you were saying, explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what are these green, red items that are...
This case serves as a somber reminder of the human cost of crime, the devastating impact on families and communities. It is a tragedy that could have been avoided, born from choices made in moments of desperation and rage. Let us hope that from this tragedy, we can learn valuable lessons about the importance of compassion, understanding, and the pursuit of justice. Bortland's plea carries implications that extend far beyond its immediate legal ramifications. It fundamentally alters the dynamics within the rap community, shaking to their core long-held notions of loyalty and the unspoken code of silence. This case sends a clear message. The stakes are high, and the consequences of breaking that code can be severe. The narrative surrounding this case continues to evolve, with new revelations emerging almost daily. As always, the truth is complex and multifaceted, a story of friendship, betrayal, desperation, and the enduring quest for justice. As the retrial approaches, the world watches with bated breath, awaiting the final chapter in this tragic saga. The ripple effects of Bortland's decision reach far beyond the courtroom, reshaping the very landscape of hip-hop. For years, a complex web of loyalty and silence has governed the rap community, a code often forged through shared experiences and the inherent risks of the lifestyle. This case, and particularly Bortland's cooperation, has shattered that code, exposing the fragility of those bonds. The unspoken agreement to protect one's own, regardless of circumstance, is now under intense scrutiny. The fear of implication, the threat of facing charges oneself, has always been a powerful deterrent against speaking out. Yet Bortland's choice suggests that the consequences of silence, the weight of guilt, the possibility of complicity in a greater tragedy, can be even more unbearable. The shift in perception is palpable. Young artists, aspiring rappers, and newcomers navigating the music industry are now forced to confront a new reality. The illusion of invincibility, the belief that loyalty is an unbreakable shield, has been irrevocably damaged. The message is clear. No one is above the law, and silence will not protect you. This period of introspection within the rap community, though uncomfortable, may be a necessary reckoning. An opportunity to reevaluate the values guiding their actions and to consider the ethical implications of their choices. It also serves as a reminder that the pursuit of fame and fortune should never come at the expense of justice and human dignity. Then there is the impact on YNW Melly's legal defense. Bortland's testimony, while undoubtedly damaging, introduces a complex and layered narrative. This is no longer a straightforward case of a lone gunman, but a story of desperation, collaboration, and a network of individuals entangled in a web of deceit. Melly's attorneys now face the daunting task of dismantling Bortland's account, challenging his credibility, and constructing a defense that acknowledges his involvement while maintaining Melly's innocence. This process will be arduous, requiring meticulous examination of evidence, rigorous cross-examinations, and a deep grasp of the legal nuances involved. The media frenzy surrounding the case has intensified dramatically since Bortland's decision. Every detail and nuance is dissected and analyzed by news outlets and social media alike. This relentless scrutiny places immense pressure on everyone involved, the defendants, the victims' families, legal teams, and even jurors, and fuels a climate of intense public opinion that can easily distort perceptions of guilt or innocence. It's a stark reminder that in the age of instant information, reputation and perception often overshadow the pursuit of truth. The retrial itself promises to be a spectacle, a high-stakes drama unfolding in the courtroom. The jury, composed of ordinary citizens, will bear the enormous responsibility of weighing the evidence, assessing witness credibility, and ultimately delivering a verdict that will determine.
Better known as YNW Melly, now charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. His co-defendant, 22-year-old Cortland Henry, otherwise known as YNW Bortland, faces the same charges. Demmons and Henry are charged with killing their friends and co-members of their YNW collective. 19-year-old Christopher Thomas, also known as YNW.
They will be confronted with graphic details of the crime, emotionally charged testimonies, and conflicting narratives. Their decision will not only affect those directly involved, but will also reverberate throughout the community. The emergence of new evidence has introduced an unexpected twist to the investigation. What was once believed to be a straightforward shooting has now evolved into a complex criminal enterprise, underscoring the critical importance of ongoing investigation and the potential to uncover hidden truths. These previously unknown details have left investigators and legal experts scrambling to reassess their understanding of the events, significantly complicating the legal proceedings and highlighting the unpredictable nature of criminal investigations and the ever-present possibility of uncovering new facts. The prosecution, bolstered by Bortland's cooperation, now finds itself in a stronger position than ever. However, it still faces the formidable challenge of proving its case beyond a reasonable doubt, a standard that demands more than mere suspicion or circumstantial evidence. Prosecutors must present a compelling narrative that convincingly links Bortland's testimony to YNW Melly's actions, demonstrating his direct involvement in the crime with unwavering clarity. The legal battle will be fierce, a clash of narratives and a test of legal strategy. The retrial also serves as a poignant reminder of the human cost of violence. Behind the legal proceedings, beyond the headlines and sensationalism, are the families and friends of the victims, forever scarred by the tragedy. Their grief, their pain, is a constant presence, a sobering reminder of the devastating impact crime inflicts on individuals and communities. It is a call for compassion, for understanding, and for a renewed commitment to preventing future tragedies. The legal system strives to deliver justice, but it cannot erase pain or restore what has been lost. The significance of Bortland's decision extends far beyond its immediate legal consequences, striking at the heart of the rap community's code of silence. It stands as a stark warning against the perils of blind loyalty and underscores the critical importance of upholding justice and protecting the vulnerable. The ripple effects of this case will reverberate for years to come, reshaping dynamics within the music industry and prompting necessary introspection within the community. Public perception of justice has always been a complex and often unpredictable force. In this case, the narrative has been meticulously crafted and manipulated, shaping public opinion and influencing legal proceedings. The prosecution has skillfully portrayed a ruthless killer and a desperate accomplice, while the defense has countered by emphasizing mitigating circumstances and challenging witness credibility. The jury, bombarded by this constant stream of information, must remain impartial and objective, relying solely on evidence presented in court. The pursuit of justice is a long and arduous journey, often fraught with challenges and setbacks. It demands a steadfast commitment to truth, the courage to confront uncomfortable realities, and unwavering dedication to the rule of law. This case powerfully reaffirms the importance of these principles and highlights the urgent need for a legal system that is truly just and equitable. It is a call to action for all citizens to hold the system accountable and to strive for a world where justice prevails. The path toward truth, though often painful, is ultimately essential for healing and for building a more just society. The weight of responsibility borne by everyone involved in this case cannot be overstated. The pursuit of justice is indeed a long and arduous process, frequently marked by obstacles and reversals. It requires an unyielding commitment to truth, the resolve to face difficult truths, and a deep dedication to upholding the rule of law. This case stands as a powerful reminder of the vital importance of these values and the imperative of a legal system that is genuinely